Again, Satan has already been judged, back at the garden. So what is this, expulsion language here? What does that have to do with? Again, it telegraphs the idea that he has no right, no authority, no basis to accuse any member of the kingdom of God. I mean, we tend to read through the Gospels as Jesus, the Israelite Messiah, the Jewish Messiah, preaching to Jews. And we don't really get Gentiles involved until Acts chapter 10 with Cornelius. That is not the case. This is not a post-Jesus idea that he is here for the Gentile. He starts his ministry with that focus. They are included. He goes to Galilee to a synagogue, Jewish, and starts preaching to them about the inclusion of the Gentiles. And when they throw him out of town, then he starts doing the same thing elsewhere. In Luke chapter 9, let's just go to Luke chapter 9 here. He called the 12 together, gave them power and authority over all demons to cure diseases. So he's beginning his ministry. He starts preaching about the kingdom of God. He sends out the disciples to do this. And they come back, and again, they're thrilled, like wow, look at what, the authority we have, and so on and so forth. Yeah, because the expulsion of demonic powers, whatever form they take, either they're demons in the second rebellion sense, or they're something geographical, they are subject to you because the kingdom of God has arrived. If you are a member of the kingdom of God, then these agents of death, these agents from the underworld, no longer have the authority, have power over you. To a Gentile, places that are under dominion of territorial spirits, the principalities and powers, the princes of Daniel 10. The messaging is the same. They no longer have any judicial, legal, spiritual, theological authority over you. Yeah, it was given to them by God at Babel, but that's over. The Most High who decreed that situation has now become a man. And he demands that you turn from your gods, reject them, and come to him, because he is the one that's going to graft the Gentiles back in. Again, this is the messaging. And so this is why Jesus gives first the 12, who are Jews, power in this fashion, again, associated with the kingdom of God. And then it shifts. It shifts in Luke 10. If we go down to Luke 10, see here, Luke 10, he sends out, after this, the Lord appointed 72 others. Some of your versions will say 70, and sent them on ahead of him, 2 by 2. Now, if you've read Unseen Realm, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but why the switch? Because now it's time to remind people, plus he's going to do it in territories associated with Gentiles, that he's not just the Messiah for the Jew. That's the 12. That's the messaging to the Jewish audience and these places, and to the disciples. But then he says, well, I'm going to appoint 70 or 72. The number is incidental because both numbers go back to the same Old Testament location. And that is Genesis 10, the table of nations, the nations that were disinherited at Babel. It's 70 if you use the traditional Hebrew text and count them. If you use the Septuagint, there's a division of one of the names into 2. You get 72. A couple of the names are divided. It's the same thing. When he sends out the 70 or the 72, they're not among the 12. They're outside the 12, and they're sent to these areas. And the messaging is obvious, again, to people who know the Deuteronomy 32 worldview. He's the Messiah of the Gentile as well. And then in Luke 10:18, he says, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Again, Satan has already been judged back at the garden. So what is this expulsion language here? What does that have to do with? Again, it telegraphs the idea that he has no right, no authority, no basis to accuse any member of the kingdom of God. All of this, the sending of the 12, the sending of the 70 or 72, it is all in conjunction with the announcement, the inauguration, the beginning of the kingdom of God in Jesus' theology and his ministry. So the messaging is, if you're a member of this kingdom, my kingdom, None of these spiritual authorities, including Satan, the Lord of the dead, none of them has any authority and claim over you. Because in me, you will have everlasting life. So, what can they do to you? And the messaging is really important. The numbers, when he's doing it, where he's doing it. He's telegraphing Gentile inclusion. Again, 10:1, we just read that. You get again this telegraphing of Gentile inclusion. Let's go back a little bit to verses 11 and 12. Okay. Even the dust of your own town that clings to your own feet, wipe off against you. This is what he tells the 70 or the 72. Nevertheless, know this, the kingdom of God has come near. In the kingdom of God, again, in these Gentile areas, the 70, 72 going out, whenever you enter a town and you get this reaction, tell them the kingdom of God has come near. It'll be more bearable on that day for Sodom than for you. And he mentions, some of these Gentile locations. It'll be more bearable in judgment for Tyre and Sidon than you. Okay, Capernaum, so on and so forth. I mean, this is all Galilean stuff. And they returned, they rejoiced that wow, we have the authority to do these things. Again, it's theological messaging. Jesus acting when he does, where he does, what he says, and the Old Testament backdrop to that content. It's theological messaging. He is reversing these curses. He is reversing these rebellions. He has the authority to do these things.